Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and where
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? It is to me. Right, idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, that's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and where with the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me. But I have to put her on the side and where with the boys.
What's up? What's going on? How are you?
But I have to...
There is
February
no
21st, 2023.
F's and stuff.
6 minutes
But I have to put her
past 7:30 here on the West Coast.
side
Welcome.
and where with the boys.
Welcome to the lab, everybody. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz, and we have some interesting things to discuss, some things that we're going to talk about in the near future as well, regarding the Summer Wells case coming up on this summer's the 2-year anniversary, and hopefully some answers are provided by then. I had an interesting exchange with Dateline, who I am trying to get involved as well. And so, hopefully something there pans out to widen this audience even more. And so let's just fingers crossed for that possibility, and I'll keep you updated. Hold on a second here. All right. I mean, we're really, really trying to make something happen here in any way possible. And it's difficult, I mean, but at the same time, let me see this stupid chat box. No, I mean, I like the chat box, but sometimes it distracts me just a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, We're also going to talk about the reward fund that is no longer and I have mixed emotions about it. We'll dive into that a little bit. And if you guys want, we could probably take a couple calls at some point. I don't see why not. Also, I'm working on a transcript. So it's not even a transcript. So when I had a conversation with Donald the last time, that crap sort of hit the fan with him again. And then him and I had a conversation, and I took notes, copious amounts of notes. And, he said some pretty interesting things. I mean, in no uncertain terms, he basically admitted that he doesn't know what happened and that he's having to rely on Candace's word for it. Now, if you believe that or not, that's up to you, but that's basically what he said. Now, don't get me wrong. He didn't just come out right out and say that. But if you present it to him in that way, where you go, hey, Don, some may say dum, don't get mad. He's called me way worse. I don't want to hear about it. Okay, so, hey, Don, if you were at work, how would you actually know what happened? You're so confident. You knew right away, just a premonition or feeling or whatever. We don't know. But in no uncertain terms, he basically says, yeah, you're right. And then he even tells me that at the same time, he tells me that he can see why the time discrepancy would bother me. We talked about his 7 alibis. We talked about tons of stuff. He begged me to be his friend. He asked me to be his friend. Then he blocked me. Why can't you be my friend? I don't know. Why can't I? I don't know. Because I don't want to be. But, you know, he said, you know, there are just so many things there that are red flags that we will never fully understand the persuasiveness of Don. I mean, there are people out there who fully support him and think that he had nothing to do with it or that he has no knowledge of it. And by the way, I'm not so ignorant to the fact or to the facts that I know that can't or that can be true. That is a possibility, no doubt. Some lean more towards Candace. Some lean more towards Don. Some say Grandis, but that's dropping off just a little bit. I know there's some of you out there that still feel that way. And, you know, by all means, if you ask me, it would be the parents first. And the way that these investigations work is you start from the inside out. And I don't think that they've ever got away from the inside. I don't think that the quote unquote suspect circle is as big as Mr. Lawson would want people to believe. All right. And so tomorrow we will go over a conversation that I had with Don. Hopefully the last conversation that I have with him, but probably not. He doesn't like me. He doesn't like what I report. And there are other people that don't either. They say, well, I do what I want. It's fine. Move on. You know, I don't care. Just move along, folks. If you don't like the way that I run the show or talk with the content of the show, that's totally fine. But, you know, don't make me your content to say, well, I wouldn't do it that way. Well, then don't do it that way and just get out of my way. Just frig right off, Randy. Has anybody ever seen Trailer Park Boys? Frig off, Randy. That's one of my favorite sound bites. I got to get that one. No F's and stuff. We're not all cows. Bring on the calls. Oh, God. The calls. Don't worry. So I'll bring on the calls. Hey, but not yet. Not yet. What happened? I got to get a new URL layover. Hold on. Nope, that's not. Was that the one? That was the one, huh? Love Don's Ulcer, by the way. What's up, Don's Ulcer? What a great name that is. he's certainly got to have like something like that, right? Wouldn't you think? I mean, he's got an ulcer. Miss Tammy, $125 super chat. Thank you so much. He's got to have an ulcer, right? I would think so. I would think that he would have an ulcer. Like a big one. Oh, he doesn't have a liver. It's like one of the funniest things. That name will go down in history as an all-time great. Pass the Pepto-Bismol. Yeah, he's probably going to be really pissed tomorrow, but I mean, what do I care? I don't care at all. So, the reward fund. Now, this has been and will be a controversial issue until people just forget about it. And don't get me started on the Summer Wells reward fund fiasco and whatever else went down. I don't want to talk about it. It was just, I think hearts were in the right place. I don't know, man. I was very new to YouTube then, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything because I don't know. I have no clue what happened, why it happened, how it happened. I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is there was over $40,000 raised for Summer's reward fund. All right. And the Church Hill Rescue Squad, who I believe was the one that was in charge of the money, once it expired. So originally it was only supposed to last 6 months. Okay. Standard. Then it was extended. And then it was extended to a year. Don came out and said, don't let the reward fund go. One of the only things that I've ever agreed with Don saying was, don't dissolve the reward fund yet. Please don't do it. And here we are today. It is now dissolved. It's gone. There is no longer $40,000 out there for the reward of information leading to Summer Wells' whereabouts. It is in a way, it's very disheartening. It's kind of, it feels like maybe in a way that we're giving up on her, but it's not the case. And I'll explain to you why that's not the case and a little bit about Trevor, who has donated graciously to the Summer Wells Fund. They did it so sloppy. That's the big issue. It was done. Yes, in a way. Yeah, I agree with that. However, these reward funds can be so messy when you're dealing with donated money and things like that, collected, donated, and then put into a bank where it changes like 3 hands or whatever. It's just not really how it's supposed to go. What you're supposed to do is get a bank and the link to the bank and then you just donate it right there. You put the link up and people donate it. You don't really want people send it to my Cash App or my PayPal or my Venmo, Facebook, whatever. That's not how the beginning of it. And it started that way. And and then there were some locals that donated large amounts of money. And it was messy. Reward funds can get messy. So it's Enoch. I'm gonna and let me just do this here. Let me read this to you. All right. Hawkins County, Tennessee. And by the way, WJHL has more banner ads than I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's impressive. They just got banner ads to the gills. The Hawkins County Chancery Court has declared a judgment in the fate of the Summer Wells Reward Fund. Now, hold on. Okay, well. All right, so basically what happened was, and the Churchill Rescue Squad, what they did when it ran out of time is that they basically turned it over to the court to make a decision. And so a judge could decide where should this money go. Because reward funds do expire most of the time. And you have to be able to say like, oh, okay, well, the money's going to go here when it's done, or we're going to give our money back. Let's see. So, okay. Josh, I've never heard you disgrace someone in a bad way, as these adults that day didn't do what parental figures should be doing other than Don going to work. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I appreciate you saying that. Good thing I don't like hot wings. All right, here we go. Hawkins County, Tennessee. Hawkins County Chancery Court has declared a judgment in the fate of the Summer Wells Reward Fund. The fund, which totals $40,365.73, was created and managed by the Churchill Rescue Squad in 2021. After then 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from her home in Beech Creek, in the Beech Creek community. The fund was created in an effort to provide a reward in exchange for information that led to the discovery of Summer. Initially, the fund was set to expire in 6 months after it was created, at which time the funds would be donated to the Child Advocacy Center of the 3rd Judicial District if Summer had not been found. That term was later extended by an additional 6 months. In June 2022, the rescue squad filed a lawsuit asking the court to determine who would receive the funds. The lawsuit listed Summer's parents, Candace Bly and Don Wells, as defendants, as well as the Child Advocacy Center and one other individual. So there was 3 people that it could have gone to. How Don and Candace ended up on there, I don't know. Tim Mullen says that they didn't ask to be put on there. I'm assuming that if they wanted to, they could have removed themselves from there. But the lawsuit itself, and it's not really, it was more of a, when you say a lawsuit, I mean, it was for the judge. It was basically to turn the money over to an impartial decision maker. All right. Yeah, I don't. Okay, so an attorney. Okay, so Tim Coop's attorney. Okay, I don't know why they would add him. I mean, whatever. But it didn't go to them. But somehow their names were on it, and which blows my mind. But holy crap! as well as the Children's Advocacy Center and one other individual. Summer's parents were okay. So it says they were dropped as defendants, as a spokesperson of the family said in a statement that they wish to remain separate from the fund. So they were in, then they were out. Okay. Whatever. But they were on. I don't know how they managed that one. I really don't know how they managed that one, but I don't know how. I really don't. I don't know, man. Court documents state that the notice was sent to all defendants in the lawsuit along with a summons. According to a judgment from the court, the Children's Advocacy Center was the only defendant to file an answer requesting to receive the funds. So Don and Candace did not ask to receive the funds. They didn't respond. And the other person named on, and I don't know who that was, but I think it's probably that really big donor, but they weren't. So they didn't respond. And then they did ask to be dropped through Tim. I don't know. The court found due to the center's response and rescue squad's lack of objection, the Child Advocacy Center of the 3rd Judicial District will be the sole beneficiary of the Summer Wells Reward Fund. The Advocacy Center, which aids abused children in Tennessee, will receive the full $40,365 and 73 cents. And there's also a stipulation in there that if you donated to this fund, you cannot sue for your money back. I don't know if anybody would actually, maybe there would be, but there's basically a provision. And when it comes to reward funds, you can't do it. It's basically once it's donated, it's donated. So the Child Advocacy Center in Tennessee is getting the full $40,000 reward fund for summer. And I say it like this. I want to choose my words carefully. Reward funds are a good thing, obviously. A lot of times, law enforcement, they truly don't advocate for reward funds because it can create unwanted distractions. But what we got to understand is, and from talking about these cases and reading about other cases that have had reward funds in the past, reward funds are meant to be for the quick return. Basically, okay, 6 months. I mean, 6 months is a long time to just have money floating out there. So I don't know, is the Churchill Rescue Squad, are they supposed to hold on to that money for indefinitely? No, that's not what they do. And so they turned it over. The lab, there were donors that stipulations on their donations. Well, that's just not, I mean, they can say that, but there's really, doesn't matter. It's done. It's over. They're not getting their money returned to them. It's all going to the Child Advocacy Center. Now, I don't know the exact ins and outs of that, but it is an interesting topic, for another day, but it's pretty set in stone. It is pretty set in stone. Enchanted Life Pass says it was unlawfully obtained by illegal reward fund scamathon. Well, that's something. Well, that's the thing. That would be up to the court, don't you think? I mean, ELP. I know how you feel about it. I understand too. It's ironic that the Churchill is involved at all, but the Churchill Rescue Squad didn't get anything. They didn't get anything. And it's not like, I don't think it's like Dawn's church. And even if it's okay, and even say it was obtained illegally and given to the reward fund. Say that it was, that $40,000 is actually there and it is going to the child advocacy program. Okay. So say what you want. It is going to a nonprofit organization that gets the money. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But it is the end of the Summer Wells reward fund. It no longer exists. And you would think, because it was 2 years, it was only supposed to be for 6 months, and it's gone. There is no more reward fund. So, God bless them. I really do hope that money is put to good use. And once again, Summer has made more of a difference in her life than most of us will ever make in our full lives. In her 4 years, or her 5 years. And I pray that she's not deceased. I obviously have feelings about that. But she gave her brothers, and she has given her brothers a chance to succeed. And $40,000 was raised in her name and given to the Child Advocacy Center for children to get the help that she deserved. And once again, Summer Wells makes a big difference in people's lives, and we haven't even seen her or heard from her in 20 whole months. She has changed lives. She's given people the opportunity to live a better life. And the money that was just sent to the Child Advocacy Center is going to change a lot of lives. It's just sad that Summer. It's just sad that Summer wasn't able to receive any of that money. But you got to understand that these reward funds aren't meant to go on forever. 20 years or so on and so forth. They're just not meant to do that. You should ask the rescue squad why they did not want to do. Look, like I said, they're not an accounting firm. They're not an accounting firm. They are they're a rescue squad. And yes, the problem is when that amount of money comes in, people are going to throw fits and accuse people of malfeasance because everybody wants to believe the worst without proof, without evidence, without, what tells us that, what tells us that there was malfeasance? I don't know. I didn't see it. It's not like Dawn and Candace sitting on their ass the first day Summer goes missing, and that happened. Believe you me, it sure did. But yeah, they are not. This is just kind of par for the course. It's par for the course, and this is how it happens. But it is sad in a sense. I don't know about any of that. Let's see. I believe I read that an employee at the rescue squad has stolen the money. No reward money, but still. Yeah, I don't know. I doubt it. The Churchill Rescue Squad are good people. I agree with that. You can email me that. Carl. Kelly, I read that as Go Tickle Bottom. Oh my God. I didn't mean to read that. I'm really sorry. So there you go. A chapter and a relatively big chapter in this case does now come to an end. But the question still remains. What happened to Summer, June 15th, 2021? Still no answers. Still no evidence. Now, here's the thing that I want to say, because I've been hit with this a lot. Where is the evidence? How can you accuse? There's no evidence against them. None. That we know of. Not only all we know is the parents' actions. And that's all we can go off of. If Dawn and Candace were headed to a missing persons convention this weekend to pass out flyers with Summer's name on them and allegedly not throw away 4,000 flyers, as was stated by Dawn, come on. I don't think that people would be up there, and it's not about their past. It is about their past, but it's not about like them not having money or, they had drug problems. By the way, they did have money, because that's a whole lie. I don't know what they have now, but that's not really, my thing. But because I don't really care. But that was kind of a misconception. That was so they're like, you don't have any evidence. Okay, but where's the evidence that they're not involved at all? Now I get it. You say, well, the burden of proof is on the prosecution. Burden of proof is on the prosecution, not in the court of public opinion. Not in the court of public opinion, because what I'm telling you is, do you think that people thought that Scott Peterson was acting right? No, he was just the last one to see his wife, Lacey. He had unaccounted time. He had different stories. He had odd behavior. What was the evidence against Casey Anthony? Well, she lied to investigators. Where was the physical evidence? There was none, except that she didn't report Kaylee missing. And yet she got crucified as well, and rightfully so. So rightfully so with Scott Peterson as well. You want to talk evidence? That's for the court. You want to talk behavior? That's for us to look at. And we are looking, and we've been watching, and the behavior does not match that of distraught parents. In a court of law, MGP. In a court of law, they are absolutely innocent until guilty. In a court of law. I'll agree with you there. The decomp was never proven, and that wasn't even really, I mean, that was never, they said it could have been chlorine. It could have been, different things. Yes. But there's so many things. Well, let me tell you this. If I was the parent of a missing child, and we are at 20 months, and the lead investigator on the case says that we haven't ruled anybody out and that everybody's still a suspect, that would frighten me to the bone. And it should frighten Dawn and Candace. They should be scared of that. Because it's not, 2 years, you would think, well, something, anything? Where are the leads? Where are the other suspects? Where are the suspects? Everybody's a suspect. Everybody involved is still a suspect, meaning, and I take this as mom, dad, possibly grandma. If you're there, you're there. I'm sure the kids had been looked at or have been looked at, talked to repeatedly. But they should be terrified. Orrin and Orson, the Cal City boys, classic and sincere, whatever name you prefer. The adopted parents, nothing. But everybody thought that their story was weird. Most people were, I'm sure there was a few people that were, that were kind of, I don't know. I watched their press conference and I'm like, yeah, that's odd, but it's not, anything. But their story, their actions, no evidence against them. None whatsoever. And they were arrested in the middle of the night and are going on trial next month for the murder of the two Cal City boys, classic and sincere, Orrin and Orson. Not one little shred was turned over. And I'm telling you, it sounds like they have a lot. But you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. We have not reached the finish line here. And if you think that Jacqueline and Trezell are criminal masterminds and I said, and people said this about them, they're not smart enough to get away with it. They're not smart enough to get away with it. They're not smart enough to get away with it. Well, guess what? They didn't get away with it. They were free for a couple years, no question about it. Their case was turned into an absolute circus, no doubt about it. The police were fighting against the media, social media, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. They fought and fought and fought. And then they're arrested in the middle of the night with nothing, no warning, no anything. And if you think that that is not how it can and probably will happen if an arrest is made in this case, and God, I pray that there is. And by the way, if they came up tomorrow and said, so-and-so from Knoxville is guilty, or, we're charging him, would I be shocked? Yeah. Is it going to happen? I doubt it. Well, why do I doubt it? Because it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. Come to find out, Classic and Sincere had been missing for 3 months previously, according to law enforcement. Nobody knew that. I mean, people were looking for the children that probably never even were there. Searching for ghosts, misdirection. They kept it quiet for years. Or sorry, they did. They didn't say anything. But then you find out later on that they're intimidating witnesses, that, they're trying to see, they did some really awful things behind the scenes. But guess what? According to Hunter, Candace wanted to know what he told TBI. Dawn denies that. How Dawn would know, I don't know. That fact cannot be overlooked in this case. It certainly cannot be overlooked. The very next day, Candace shows up on Allie's porch wanting to know what Hunter told TBI. Wow. That's incredible. And it's inappropriate and it's illegal. And for some reason, not a damn thing has been done about it. And I have no clue why. Why would Dawn say they have no evidence and never will? I mean, if you want to sound convincing, that's what you would say. If you wanted to sound like that I have absolutely nothing to hide, that is what you would say. According to Allie, and I don't know what her credibility is, if it's bad, if it's good. There's a lot of people in this case that credibility isn't great. That kept Candace awake. Yep. No corn dogs for Dawn. That would set, dude, that would set his ulcer on fire. What does Hunter knows the question? I agree. No, it's not illegal that she showed up. It's illegal for her to in any way, shape, or form hinder the information that he gives to TBI. And what she was there to do, at least, she did not want him telling her or telling TBI about the vapes and the alcohol, at least. Now, why would that be your issue? Why would that be your issue the day your daughter's missing for, I don't know, close to 24 hours? Something like that. And she's more worried about the alcohol that Hunter claims that she bought and the vapes. That's what she was worried about. Not good. And how something was never done about that, maybe it will at some point. But like everybody else, I have no freaking clue. The boys were there. There's nothing there. And that's the other thing. What's the evidence against them? What's the evidence against them? Every turn, every take, every little thought, every little nuance, all of it is misdirection. They can't put together one solid timeline that is even within 20 minutes of each other. Hunter and Candace can't decide the 4 or 5 places they went, when they went, how long they were there. Candace didn't know what time it was. Apparently, she didn't have her sundial on that day. The best thing that I can think of is the CPS case that is possibly, most likely intertwined with Don and Candace, the boys. Summer's involved in that as well. All right. And Don said something very telling. Even if Summer was found when he was under a gag order, but decided to go on the local news and accuse CPS of stealing his children, his boys. Bad move. I mean, that was a bad move. I agree, dude. You do need a lawyer. Not to sue me, but like to tell you not to do stupid stuff like that. All right. So that's what you need a lawyer for. Because any lawyer would go, hey, Don, this is a bad idea. And then he'd do it anyway. And then the lawyer would drop him. It'd be like, tomorrow I'm going to tell people that CPS stole my children. And then the lawyer would be like, I wouldn't do that, Don. Why not? Well, because, the judge and the whole gag order thing, and you're supposed to be working with CPS. It's just what? I mean, it's just weird. It's uncalled for. So stupid. I mean, why would he do that? For sympathy. He was as sober as a judge when he did, he was as sober as a bailiff. He was as sober as he could ever get personally. Because I personally think that there's something knocked loose up there. I'm not sure what it is. So he's as sober as somebody who's done drugs and drank alcohol their entire life could possibly be. It's kind of like they still have that little, it's like we're trying to be not drunk and high. So he, who knows? We don't really know. It's been said. Yeah, fun to ski. Fun to ski. grand juries convene all the time, and you don't have to wait, by the way, for a jury to convene or grand jury to convene. You can pull one in if you need to. You know, if you absolutely need one, you can get one. But I think that there's a list of things that they could be tried for, and I think in every case or most cases like this, I'm sure that at some point law enforcement, maybe they won't publicly say it, but there's always missteps. I don't know what those missteps were. We all kind of have our own opinions about it, but I'll never get away from the fact that the missteps were because of the way the parents reported it. Like, they didn't, under the best of circumstances, it is so hard to find a missing child. Even when the parents aren't involved and they are actively like trying to help you with solid information, an accurate timeline, things like that. That's not what you get here. That's not what they got here. And I wish that people would take that into consideration. Now, should law enforcement have believed what they said? I don't know. I mean, that's all hindsight. 2020. You know, who knows? But the timeline, the way that they reported it, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. None. Zero. That doesn't help the case at all. It has never. I mean, the district attorney himself says, because of the players involved, not me, not any other YouTuber or Chris McDonough that Don says screwed this case up. The players involved, meaning Don and Candace. There are elements of crimes, but that he could not define them. He is waiting for them to present charges to see what they can and can't nail down. Okay. If they can't get a murder conviction or a child endangerment conviction or something, there are elements of crimes. So you say what you want. Ronnie Lawson says that they aren't cooperating. The lead detective says that the communication is not there. It was pretty good, for a while, and now it's just at a standstill. And then the district attorney says there are elements of crimes, and it becomes more difficult because of what? The players involved. Who are those players involved? That's it. That's it. But, this law enforcement thing, I get it. I understand. Lawson's got dead eyes, man. It seems like he doesn't care what anybody says. And in one respect, I do kind of respect that in a way, because, I mean, most people would want that too. But at the same time, it's frustrating. And my hope, my goal, or not my hope, but my hope is that they have made significant progress that they don't have to share with us. Because to me, that would be ideal. 1 second. If you guys want to, hold on 1 second. Oopsie. I'm just hooking up the call-in system. Sorry. 47. There it was. Perfect. Let me throw the... All right. So there it is in the bottom of the screen. At the bottom of the screen, 858-299-2504. Curious what you think about the reward fund. How do you feel about that? Or anything else related if you'd like. Once again, it's 858-299-2504. Let's see here. Look at that. We got 14 months. Wow, Lulu. We go way back, yo. We go way back, Lulu. Hit that like button. Hit the thumbs up. Cat H, 11 months. That's solid, man. That's real solid. Thank you. Appreciate it a lot. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
This is my first time calling in. I've been watching you for a while.
Thank you.
So, I have been in parole and probation work for over 35 years.
Love it. I love where this call's already going.
Yeah, okay. And I've been biting my tongue for months now because I got to be real careful what I say and not to say where I'm at and where I'm coming from because it can jeopardize what I do. Couple of comments. First of all, regarding Candace and Schmucko there, leopards don't change their spots.
No, they don't.
They don't change their spots. You know, and if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a friggin' duck.
Mm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And then talking about the kids and the care of the kids and the condition that the home is in, an addict, an alcoholic, will walk 3, 4, 5 towns over in the middle of a friggin' snowstorm to get what they want.
Oh, I agree with
that. But they're not doing that for their child. Right? They're not doing it for their child.
Nope, but Donald drive to Knoxville and hand out crack.
Right. So, you know, when they complain that they don't have this and they don't have enough money and they don't have the means, well, then stop buying dope, stop buying alcohol, stop buying your needles, and put the money towards taking care of your kids.
It's just not in them though. They just don't. I mean, they've had, and you know that they've had these chances before in the past. That's what's crazy about it. Like you said, a leopard doesn't change its spots.
No, they don't. And the cycle goes and goes, and it'll go as long as people see them as victims. And so the other people on their other podcasts that, poor pity them and they don't have enough, and as good people, we should be leaving them and supporting them. Well, they're just getting sucked in, to the abyss. It's what addicts do best.
And you've dealt with many of people like this.
Who have I have?
Well, in your line of work, I would imagine.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dealt specifically with sex offenders and with domestic violence offenders for many, many years. All walks of life, all cultural divisions. And when I tell you a leopard doesn't change his spots, a person like Don, even with intensive therapy, is still going to be Don.
Yeah, he needs a lobotomy.
Frontal or back?
The whole thing. Is that, what do they call that when not a partial hysterectomy, but a umpapasectomy or something?
I have to tell you too why you're making me laugh. Yesterday you said something about you got spackle in my spackle eye or something like that.
Yeah.
You had me peeing in my freaking pants.
Oh man. Yeah. Sorry. I get a little
okay.
off course
sometimes. You get these little one dingers in there that are very entertaining.
Yeah.
I had also just did a little enter into the chat, about the whole Hunter and her going over to talk to Hunter. Well, what's the possibility that Hunter, she, and Grandis with the baby in the car went to the drug dealer's house? Maybe that's what she doesn't want them to know.
That and obviously buying a 13-year-old alcohol.
That's right.
I mean, that's a big deal, right? I don't know. For some reason, I'm sure in Tennessee that, and probably most places, that's somehow a misdemeanor, but not for Candace. I mean, she's got a history,
Well, contributing to the delinquency of a minor depends on what state you are in and depends on the level of the contribution. It can be a misdemeanor or a felony.
Yeah. Well, and I would love to see Don get a lobotomy, but just for fun, not to help him in any way, shape, or form. Maybe
he'd still be shitting and pissing in buckets.
Oh, big time! That's what he does. I can't believe that. I have a friend that barely, he knows a bit about the case and the just kind of the outer edges of it. But one thing that he has always locked in on is he's like, how many times is Don going to take a dump on live? And I'm like, well, if you would have said 1, I'd have said you're crazy, but we're at 2. and the hat trick is gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
The hat trick is definitely gonna happen.
It's just, I mean, you just can't help it.
Absolutely, for sure.
The way he flicked his cigarette right before he stood up. Bing, flicks that cigarette. Unreal.
But you and your crackle jokes kills me. Just kills. My daughter was home with me the other night. She was over home for the weekend from college, and I'm watching you, and I just busted out laughing. And she's like, "What's so funny?" I said, "Oh my God, this guy's sense of humor is hysterical." I'm born and raised in New York. I was born and raised in New York. I appreciate humor like that.
Yeah.
I'm now on the West Coast, but and not that any of my statements have any more importance than anybody else's, but I've just been biting at the tongue to just say, you know what? These players are going to play themselves until they play themselves. There's an old saying.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No.
There's an old German. No, you go ahead. There's an old German saying that when it gets translated to English, it says, "Liars have short legs." And what that means is, eventually, the lie catches up with them. Because they can't run from it fast enough.
Well, that actually reminds me of an old Greek term. You can fill one hand with spackle and the other with hope and see which one you fill up first.
Does it have to be spackle?
It has to be spackle. And the good stuff too. Like the pink, the pink spackle that dries white. I think that's Don's stuff.
Right. So you have to get it right. Yeah. it's got to be the pink. So then, because we've got to help Don along with his skill set.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Yeah, that's true too, because it could be Pig Latin. I'm not sure if it was Greek or Pig Latin, but it's something.
With the spackle.
Acklespay in pig. That's how you say spackle in Pig Latin.
Hey, you hit me in my spackle eye.
Ooh, you eyes gay, av hey, Acklespay. Do you have my spackle? Somebody in the chat just said a spackleotomy.
A spackleotomy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I would just, you were talking about the other night how you're being subtly threatened. Well, just leave a bucket out on the porch.
Yeah, sure. You can have my bucket. Take a dump while you're at it.
Leaving you a free bucket. That's just my welcome mat for you. I'm giving you a bucket.
Well, it's not a bucket. It's a toilet to him. That's what. Can you imagine? Like, I could see him. Like one of those little skim boards. That people go like on the beach with. I could see him putting like tape, like duct taping a back to one of those, and really making himself a nice throne. I could see that.
Oh yes. Like the ones that they would go in the water with, but they would also go. You can use them in the snow.
Mm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're like a yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You can use them in the snow as well.
That's my favorite. I've also seen those ones that are attached to the hitch of a car too.
Well, Don might like a hitch to the back of a car.
Yeah, he would like to be hooked up to the back of a truck and drug down the hill, probably. Go real slow, Candace. My back's hurting today.
Can't do that.
Well, I appreciate your phone call, and I hope you call in again.
Thank you.
You certainly, yeah. I mean,
I hope I didn't embarrass myself.
No, trust me, I do. The only person that's embarrassed themselves, and I don't know if he's watching tonight, was the guy that insinuated that she could have been abducted by an owl.
Oh my goodness, I heard that the other night. And he was trying to work his way out of that real bad. He tried really hard.
The thing was too, is just like, I don't even want to laugh because it's just like, because, there's a little girl missing, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he was serious or not. I couldn't tell you.
Well, I think he was trying to make a point at the beginning saying how things could really happen, but then you kind of harped on him about the damn owl, and then he was trying to get away from the damn owl.
Right. Yeah. I did definitely. I took it to him on the owl thing because I was a little thrown off by the owl.
And another thing too, Josh, before I forget, I wanted to talk about the CPS stuff. I know that Don B talks about it, and the process of CPS out in our state is, these parents that have been in trouble with their children, they are given tasks to do.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to jump through the hoops. And if they don't jump through those hoops, the likelihood of them getting their children back is going down further and further with their failures.
Right.
So if they don't go to drug treatment, then that's one strike. If they don't do the visitations, or if they're not abiding by court-ordered rules to not go on the internet, those are all dings, and those are all. And so that's what I'm saying. If Candace and Don really wanted their children back, they would be doing everything they would need to do, like they would do if they wanted to get their dope.
I understand what you're saying, but like, I'm under the firm belief if they're under investigation, which I believe that they are for Summer's disappearance, they're not going to put anybody back in that house. They could walk on water, turn water into wine. It's not going to happen until it's
right, but
solved.
CPS has to do that. CPS has to go through their motions, even though the end game may be exactly that. Yeah.
And then they go, oh, okay, you did all this stuff. Hey, any progress on your missing daughter? Are they cleared as suspects? Nope. Okay, well, sorry. I don't think that they will ever, and I don't think that it was ever a possibility, but who knows?
Well, and you know, like you said before, and I'll say this again, is that if that was my child, and even if my children were older, my ass would be at that police station, not on the phone. I would be down at that police station every day so that they could see my face and remember what it is that they're expected to do. Until my child is found.
You know, I asked somebody in a similar position, acts totally different, that has a missing child. How many times do you talk to the police a week? And it started off, it was, basically every day. And even close to 2 years later, it's still 2 to 3 times a week. As often as possible, really, And if you ask Dawn and Candace, they haven't talked to law enforcement in months.
That's because they don't want their kid back.
They were never. I just don't think that they were ever going to. So, but I think that the reason that they do this is to get sympathy. It's like, we're trying to get our kids back. Be on our side. We're trying to get our kids back. Be on our side. And then you're going, okay.
Well, and here's the ironic thing, is that these two people who have been in domestic violence instances before, in which law enforcement has been called, right? And everybody always makes the excuse of, oh, no, I don't want to file charges. These two people who have great animosity towards each other are now blackmailing each other.
Exactly.
Candace is blackmailing Dawn because Candace knows she screwed up. And so Dawn knows what Candace did. Okay? So Candace is saying to Dawn, if you tell on me, I'm going to tell on you and what you've done.
Yeah, I had that conversation with him the other night. I don't know if you heard at the beginning of the show, but it was after I don't know. I did something to make him mad. There's like 10 things in the last month, but he, I asked him about the 7 alibis, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit tomorrow, but his reason, first of all, he said, well, I actually do have 7 alibis. And then he goes into this thing where he says, but I don't have to prove nothing to you. And I said, yeah, I know. But in fact, I do have 7 alibis. And then I said, and why'd you say that Candace was going down? And then he says, okay, I'm going to tell you. And then he avoided it and kept walking around the situation. Didn't want to answer it, which, is fine. He doesn't have to answer anything that I ask him, but he just kind of danced around and I do have 7 alibis, but I don't have to answer your question. Okay, cool. See you later. And, of course that wasn't the end of it, but I wished it would have been.
Yeah, but you can see with their types of personalities is that they are the type of person that is going to throw anyone under the bus to get their ass off the hot plate.
Yeah, of course.
And the fact, right? And so the fact that he's not throwing Candace underneath the bus and she's not throwing him under the bus, well, not totally, but neither one of them are really pointing fingers at each other, should tell you that each of them has something over on each other.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to tell you some of his alibis, by the way.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Well, he, according to him.
It's getting very interesting.
It's going to be interesting. Like I said, I've been kind of picking, like I said, I took some notes, and it is interesting, I'll tell you. It is interesting. But I really do appreciate your call, and I hope you do call again.
Thank you. I know we've been on for a while.
That's all right.
My name is... I can't tell my name. I go by Rebel Roddy Mom.
There we go. Rebel... What is it? Rowdy Mom?
Roddy. Rebel Roddy Mom.
Like Roddy Piper?
Like Roddy Weiler.
Like Laura Wilder from Little House on the Prairie?
Then Little House on the Prairie.
I've never
Little
been.
House on the
I've never
Prairie.
been to Little House on
Prairie
the Prairie. I would go though.
Rebel Roddy Mom. Yeah.
Rebel.
I'd be interested to keep talking to you.
Roddy
I'm
Mom.
really psyched that I finally got you.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling too. Thank you so much.
No problem. You take care.
All right. Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
Oh, I'm going to tell. I don't even know. I don't think he even got to 7, but he brought up a couple. So we will definitely talk about that tomorrow. Caller, go ahead. You're on the
Hello.
air.
Yes. Tell Don that I will come out and plant their onions for them this year.
Why would you do that?
You know who this is?
Yeah, but I don't want to say. Well, go ahead.
Someone you were supposed to call back.
Yeah, that doesn't narrow it down that much, but let's see. Where are you from here?
Kansas City.
Yes, about the TV station.
Yeah.
Still chasing it. Can't get a good answer.
You got to, well, you know why?
Probably.
I don't really want to say this.
Who cares? Say it.
I think the law is involved in this stuff.
Like that they
Myself.
got to the TV station?
Well, yeah, that was a 911 call. I mean, I heard it, and I can't believe nobody else heard it.
It's like I've contacted some program directors. I mean, I'm chasing
Okay.
it. I promise you.
Well, yeah, that's all I wanted to know. But I think either they're involved in something or they don't want you to know, because when I called it in, they didn't say a word to me.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they're probably like,
so I just wanted to let you know that I was just concerned and wondering. I thought, but just wanted to check in for you.
I have I have the note. So I just pulled it up because when people call, I can put like notes in there. I mean, I do have you on there for a callback, but I just haven't really gotten very far with it. I've only heard back from a couple different people.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. Well, couldn't another TV station pick that up?
Well, yes,
I mean,
and
wouldn't
that's
have
why
to
I
be
went to the program
Tennessee.
directors.
Yeah,
Because-
but I'm thinking it went out to different states and stuff. And they could have blocked it. Tennessee could have blocked it after that.
Right. Yeah, no,
But-
that's true.
That's what I'm thinking.
Tell me more about these onions.
Okay. All right. They planted the flowers. And Grandma, Summer helped them plant the flowers. And Grandma and Candace decided to plant onions. So Grandma and Candace planted the onions. And then Summer came along and pulled the onions up, and then she was punished. And that was all that was said on that. After the punished, it stopped. And I know it was Don that called in. I know.
You heard it?
Yeah, I heard the call. Yeah.
Now, I remember you telling me that, but you heard his
Well,
voice.
you know how Don can overload his mouth at times. You know how he, just like he's got 7 alibis, tell him he's only got 6, okay?
Right. He's
So,
only,
I mean,
he's only
you
got the
know,
6.
Yeah.
But so you heard his voice on the 911 call. You heard Don Wells' voice on that 911 call.
I know, because it's been a long time now, but I know because all the time people would bring up the silent, there's a 911 call out there, and when we hear that, it's hidden or something. When we hear that, we'll know what happened. Haven't you heard them say that? I have heard things like that. I don't know, but yeah, sort of. YouTubers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. The YouTubers say it.
Well, it definitely could have been released early on, like within the first couple of days, and shut down.
Yeah, well, I think it was early. I think it was either the same day or the day after, But I've kept it silent because I could have emailed you, but I didn't really know your email address, so I've been waiting for a phone number. So you put your phone number up the other night, and I called.
Yes,
I've known this since it happened.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm like I said, I've got a couple program directors I've reached out to, and hopefully they get back to me. But I will follow up with them again.
Well, that's okay. I just thought you called them and you didn't believe. You thought I was just, bullshit.
I believe you.
At all.
I have no reason. I mean,
you can get calls like that. So it's been on my mind. I've been watching everything. So.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay. Well,
we'll talk soon.
Hang in there, guy.
All right. Thank you so much.
I want you to get a bunch of members. So.
We've
and maybe this will do it for you.
Well, I appreciate that.
I don't think it would hurt to tell them.
I mean, you're allowed to tell them. Nobody's told you that you can't.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk to somebody you didn't know who it was if you want to tell that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because all the other channels are doing it, most of them. They're coming in with, something's going on,
Right.
So.
Well, you know what? If we don't get anywhere, maybe we'll just talk about what you heard.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, you can do it. But I think really Summer took off probably to swing or something and then came back. And he would do it. He would tell, a little hint. But what they're afraid of is, I know she killed her. I just have that feeling. And he's a satyr, that. So they both got something on each other.
I agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that. I believe that too.
That's the situation. Don can't tell on her, and she can't tell on him.
Seems like the most likely of scenarios. We just don't know in between that crap sandwich what else they've done, But yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, really. But I get tickled with you. I really do.
Well, I appreciate it.
You're quite funny.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I won't. All righty.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hang in there.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
She's great. Love it. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, stranger.
What's up, dude? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Trevor Lee on the phone. So tell me just really quick about this reward fund. So you weren't notified about this? It just happened?
Right. So when this was initially brought to court months ago, I reached out to their lawyers and said, I want to have a say in at least where my portion goes. I didn't want it back. None of me wanted it back because when I put it in there, I thought it would stay. Hopefully bring answers, But I said I wanted to have a say that either it is left as a standalone reward or that the whole reward hopefully would stay open. But I was told that there'd be 4 weeks of notices for donors, and, well, that never happened to my knowledge. So that news today was news to me.
Right. So when you initially donate, so what do they tell you? I mean, what are the stipulations? What does it say? Hey, this is only for 6 months, and then we're going to give the money back, or we're going to donate it somewhere. Did they say anything like that?
No, at the time I donated, there were no stipulations. I put up my reward on my own. I had a carryable safe with a lock and had my reward in there, and it was going to be a standalone reward. And then Rescue Squad came out and said they're going to set up a account. Enough people had reached out about putting reward together, and I said, well, then of course I'll drop it off through them. So
was that the
funds can
Churchill
be all put
Rescue
together.
Squad?
And, yeah, and they did it through the local bank there in Pottersville.
So you went and deposited into a bank.
Yes.
And then that was it.
Yeah. At that time, they hadn't released anything about the timeline for after 6 months, after 1 year, all those things. Because this was like very early on. I put this up pretty quickly, so it was before all the stipulations had been, which is fine. But that was before all that was put out.
Hold on one second. Arkansas Missing Advocates, if you put in the chat the area code, I'll take that call if you want to call in. Okay. So there were no stipulations. They didn't say anything, but basically they've told you, look, the money that you donated, you have no claim to anymore. You can't even sue for it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it is going to a good place.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I wanted it as long as it didn't go back, to the county to anything, which it didn't. And there was never any intention of that. But as long as it goes to somewhere, whether it be Summers Reward Fund or where it's going now, the Advocacy Center, because the thing is, unfortunately, I mean, we've gotten this far into it and there have been no leads to give for anybody to have that money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's been nothing that would align to someone being up for that money because, and I agree on this with quite a few people, is the people that know too much to ever be able to make it out with the reward money. I mean, once you're in too deep with it, if you go to jail, what's that? You're not gonna get the money. So at that point, it's just a sitting pond of money. And I mean, this year we're coming up on 2 years, so I am glad to see that the money is going to a positive cause. And I saw a lot of people today wondering about there were a lot of comments about the Advocacy Center. It is 100% legit. They do great work. Our Facebook group this past year, put together a toy drive in Summer's name that people in our group donated. And I took the toys down there, spoke to a lady that runs it. It's a great advocacy center. And ours here in my county, same way. They do plenty of great work. So that $40,000 is not going to somebody's pocket. It's going to help kids who are in the same situation as Summer or her brothers, because there are a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, it is a shame. So it's twofold for me here, Trevor. It's a shame that nobody came forward because of the reward fund. And it's also a shame that they thought that they even needed one, for somebody to do the right thing. That I hate. Now, sure, I understand, but the reward funds don't typically work. They just really don't. Statistically, it makes very little difference. I mean, if somebody just stumbles across a missing person while out turkey hunting, that's different. You know what I mean? Than somebody that has direct knowledge and goes, yeah, I'm going to turn that person in. That doesn't happen that often. You know what I mean? Not for reward funds.
Right. And see, that's why when I put the reward up, it was very early on, and I had no idea of, how deep and intertwined this would get.
Right.
I just knew that a county over from mine, there was a little girl missing, and multiple people saw her that day, and my hope was one of them wasn't involved but knew. And at that point, we could have had answers, but obviously we've, over 20 months in, we know that's not the case. But at that point, my hope was, hey, maybe, Hunter, maybe even Grandis, whoever, even Candace, if she wasn't involved, but knew, could step up and say, I mean, there's money on the table. And it's sad, like you said, that it comes to that, but unfortunately money speaks in a lot of situations.
Yes, it does.
For them, if they didn't know anything, they would have come up, and they would have come up when it was half the amount it was at the end. But nobody was going to come up, and that's why today needed to happen as much as it sucks.
It brings some finality
now,
to that situation for sure. But it is a bummer as well.
Yeah, because these kids it'll get good use. And there are kids there's going to be kids in that 3rd Judicial District that need this. I mean, they'll need funds, and the advocacy center will need funds because these kids will need resources, and they do a lot there. I mean, they're the one stop for interviewing these kids who have been through abuse, getting charges brought, getting therapy brought to these kids at no cost to them, and they're completely nonprofit. So sometimes our advocacy center relies on gift card donations so they can give gas cards out to parents so they can make it back and forth.
Well, it's a wonderful organization, and I'm glad that the money is going to be put to good use. And you guys, anybody that donated should absolutely be proud of that. And thank you for calling in, Trevor. And I always appreciate you promoting the show on your page and everything. And I appreciate the support.
Absolutely. I appreciate what you're doing, and keep at it, because this is a good fight. We got to keep at it, Josh. It was good talking to you.
Yes. We'll talk soon. Thanks, man. Bye-bye. Trevor Lee. Let me take this. BC Proud says, thank you for all you do, and thank you for having such a respectful chat. Yeah, man, they really are respectful people. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Josh. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man.
So tell me, what are you, the founder of what's the organization?
Missing Persons of Arkansas.
Gotcha.
I'm actually out on a search right now. I just wanted to give you your props and your shout outs and your due respect for keeping it going, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And
you keep letting people know what you think is on your mind, and that's, at the end of the day, that's how we get to the end conclusion.
How long have you been doing this?
Originally, my co-administrators from our organization, Josh, they were trying to just simply let you know if you wanted to promote a video that we had made for summer during your stream. It was cool. It was simple as that.
Okay.
That's how I came into this really quickly, is they were just simply trying to let you know. And because you have a really busy chat tonight, everybody was getting, it's busy.
Yeah.
The way live streams are.
It gets busy for sure, especially for summer.
Yes, sir. And we made a video. We made quite a few posts for summer over the entire case. But what the co-administrators were expressing in the chat is just letting you know simply there's a video that we created. It has no audio, so there's no copyright or anything like that, Josh. And that's pretty much it. We're just trying to get the message out there like you do week after week.
Is that on your page? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Of course.
Okay.
It's on the page. It's on our channel that's connected to the great women that are actually in your chat right now. Some of the female women that are in your chat, and there's also a few men too from our organization. They've been around for years, over 20 years, and it's all nonprofit. It's a volunteer work. These are everyday people. Like, a lot of people think it's always just the people that just volunteer, but it could be a UPS driver, it could be a FedEx driver, it could be the mailman, Lots of people volunteer their time to help for searches. And that's actually what I'm out on right now. I'm actually trying to help and assist with a case. It's not so popular in my area. It's not getting so much attention in my area to locate this young juvenile.
What's the name?
That ran away from home. I don't want to put no names out there on your channel, brother, right now.
Okay.
But my co-administrators just wanted to give you a shout out to all you're doing for Summer Wells and the whole entire situation with the case and all your coverage, the way you go 10 toes down. And they were just trying to let you know there's a video on our channel. If you want to share it anytime, you're welcome.
I would love
It's not anything fancy. There's not any audio behind it, but there's some really great photography work that went on into that video. And a lot of people have actually grabbed some of the photography from our video and used it in their channels. But that's not a problem. As long as the message is being put out there the same way that you do it. We know what's going on. We're going to keep the truth going. It's not going to stop. People don't stop when they know what the truth is. So
yeah, you're right. You're right. And let me thank you as well for fighting the good fight and doing what you guys are doing. I mean, these organizations are crucial to bringing missing people home. I've been investigating a 25-year-old hometown case for the last 3 years, and I've put my blood, sweat, and tears, and hopefully, getting close to having some sort of finale with it. It's just, but yeah, this is something, it's not just the Summer Wells case. It was the Dylan Redwine case. It was, Karen Mitchell and Summer Wells. And this is not the first one and won't be the last one, so, and I appreciate what you do as well.
It's easy to get wrapped into these cases because they hit so close to the heart. And you're right, man, the way that you're right. The way that you lay down those names and those cases like that, they hit to the heart. They're not just always close to the home. Sometimes they're further away than we would expect them to hit to us. But the important part that as a collective, as who we are, as a country, as a people, that we try to help one another and lift each other up and not break each other down, if that makes sense.
It does.
It's in some of my darkest hours in life, I've been out trying to help families find their loved ones or try to help solve a murder case. So there's all kinds of variables in life that we all go through every day. And the most important part is that we never stop. No matter what it is we're doing, we never stop doing it. And I commend you for never stopping and always going 10 toes down. And I'm pretty sure that's why my co-administrators have made a connection to your channel way before they hit the subscribe button. They've been watching your channel and telling me about the work that you do and everything, and the way that you're relentless in knowing the truth and not letting up. When you know the truth about something, you cannot stop because you know what the truth is. And that's the reality of what we live in every day, right, Josh?
Yeah. To be honest with you,
I commend you, brother.
What I told Dawn, when we had a conversation, I said, you probably like a lot of people that you probably deal with and fool and trick and whatever you do, they fall for your stuff. But I said, I truly am not a stupid individual, and everything in every fiber of my being tells me that what is going on here doesn't add up with the home and the parents. In what way? I couldn't tell you.
You just know in your heart from the start, Josh. You know in your heart.
When I saw that
thing, Josh.
interview.
See, that's the thing. There's so many of us. We know in our hearts right from the start what we need to go to and what we need to look at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When I saw that very first interview and they had basically written her off, it was infuriating. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. And if these parents were out fighting, looking, you would have never heard a peep from me. Mum's
That's right.
the word.
You're right. Yes, sir.
But I can't, in good
And
conscience, take something like that on and let it
before
go.
the girl was your daughter, you know, Josh, the same way I do. We both know that if that was your daughter, you would be out there stomping the streets, beating down doors. You would never stop. Your heart, your soul, your mind, your body, it would never give up. And that is the perseverance of love. That is the perseverance of hope. Hope never gives up. Love never gives up. We don't give up. We keep going. We know the answers in a lot of cases, but we keep going anyways, right?
I would go till my very last breath.
Yes, sir.
And I don't say that for dramatic effect. I'd say that because that's the truth. I would just like 99% of the world, but there's always that 1%. And unfortunately, I think we're looking at that 1%. But I thank you for your phone call, and I just subscribed to your page. We put it in the chat. I will play.
Before you end your stream, Josh, I just want to put this out there for you, brother. Before you end your stream, if you would like to, you are more than welcome to share any content from our channel. There's no claims, there's no copyright, there's nothing. If you would like to grab a video or whatever, you're welcome to it.
Well, I
appreciate you for what you do, putting out your heart and your soul to the internet, and just making sure that people know that there are people that care about Summer Wells, and there will be answers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, brother. Keep doing what you do.
All right.
Appreciate you, Josh.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a lovely phone call. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I am a local for Kingsport, born and raised. And, you would think this family, with them enduring a lost loved one with Rose, that they would know how to conduct themselves in searching for a lost loved one or a missing loved one. But from the get-go, day 3 or 4 in, Don says he'll see her in the resurrection. That could, antennas up for everybody. Why would he say something like that? Because I think, Josh, they knew from the whole time this little girl was never going to come back home. And the reward fund, for somebody to come forward, it would have to be Dawn, Candace, or grandmother to come forward to tell what happened this summer.
Right. You're exactly right there. That's why these reward funds do go away.
Right. With Rose being missing for all these years, you would think this family had more expenses looking for a loved one than any of us would have.
I don't think.
And they would know about going out and talking to law enforcement and putting out flyers and going and looking. No, they didn't do that because they knew she wasn't coming back home from day one.
I agree with you 100% there. I just don't think you don't search for, you can't look for what, if you know it's not, if you know she's not lost, then why search for her? She's lost to us, but everything would indicate to me that to her or to them, she's not lost.
Right. She's not lost. They know exactly where she's at or what happened to her. We don't know, but they do. And I was at Walmart on Fort Henry Drive, and Don gets out of his truck. This was early on when Summer went missing. He walks into Walmart, and he's like a superstar walking in there. And, I was thinking to myself, there's no way I could conduct myself like that in Walmart if my child was missing.
Who said, say that again?
I said when Summer first went missing, probably 2 or 3 months in, I saw Don Wells at Walmart on Fort Henry Drive, and he walked into Walmart like he was a superstar. And I thought to myself, how can you even be shopping with a lost child like this? I couldn't even walk into Walmart if my child was missing.
Right.
I would have lost it and trying to look for it, But it's beyond me how, and all the rumors and stuff that everybody's playing into and the innuendo. Everybody's just searching for answers and they're trying to dig, and there's plenty of rabbit holes. But I think it's Candace and Dawn. They know exactly. Nobody's going to find out anything until we can And yeah, they can do a grand jury. And yes, I think the 2-year mark is up. I think they will start moving on something towards that direction.
You think so?
I think they will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will, because I think they just had to wait it out, and it's almost been the time limit on it. I think they will bring charges against them with nobody, no evidence, no nothing. They will.
I hope so. I hope you're right. And I feel the way you do about it as well.
You know, in that area and Beach Creek, when we were younger, we would take joyrides and go down in there and go all over down in there. And we were welcome to come down in there during the day, but those type of people, when it gets dark, you don't come down in there where on their property or their land. Even on the roads, they knew you were there. But during the day or afternoon, we go down in there and ride. But they're nice people down in there. But you just don't mess with their children, and you don't mess with their stuff that they're doing. And most of it's illegal. It has been for years. But Don and Candace were outsiders. But yeah, there's people down in there. They know who they are, but they're not going to do anything to them. They don't have to worry about that, because they don't care about those people. But yeah, they're the 3 people that know about where Summer's at, and the boys, the reason why I think that the gag order didn't apply to them, because early on, what we don't know is they probably lost those kids or signed off their rights to them, so they didn't care about a gag order.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely possible. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care how much they talk about the boys, because they've lost them, so they have no point of charging them with anything. They don't, you know. So what's the point? They've already lost custody of them. So I don't, at that point right there. And Summer was named probably in the DCF report, but since she's not been found, they went ahead and signed off the rights. So they don't have to charge them with a gag order anymore. It's been already done and sealed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And like I said, I don't think that they were ever going to get the children back anyway. It's hailing so hard.
Yeah, you have a sheriff that's nobody's run against him in 40 years. Who's going to tell that sheriff what to do? I lived in Kingsport for years. I'm not going to live in Hawkins County where a sheriff is going to tell me what to do. But yeah, there's a lot of people who wouldn't cross Ronnie Lawson for nothing. But yeah. So
he does. He does have a certain reputation, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, he walks tall and carries a big stick. That's the good old boy way.
I don't think he likes Don. I don't think that he'd cover something up for him.
I don't think he likes too many people unless you're in his immediate circle.
Well, like
his son.
Yeah, that was a crazy deal.
If he would cover up for his son, or maybe not cover up for him, but that you see his curiosity side of your children over the years, and you're thinking, hey, could they be up to something? But yeah, he knew his son was up to something for years. But yeah, he spent a week in jail, maybe.
Yeah, no jail time now. It's impressive.
So, yeah. Who's going to go up against Ronnie Lawson? Nobody.
I mean,
not even in Sullivan County. Because you got Sullivan County cops that associate with Ronnie Lawson.
Well, I don't think people truly understand, like, especially in those kind of counties, but how powerful the sheriff actually is. I mean, he is the top enforcer in all the land.
Yeah, he's powerful. Yeah, he's not powerful in all the land, but he's powerful in his area.
Well, in his county, he is. He's the top law enforcement agent.
Yeah. Yeah, and it crosses over into Sullivan County and Scott County, Virginia. I mean, it's right there on the line. All those agencies there, if you live there, you're not going to talk about the people enforcement where you live, because you have to live there. So, no, you're not going to do that. So, yeah.
I agree with you.
And but you would think with them having Rose disappeared, they would be expert at looking for a missing person and they've learned what to do and what not to do. We don't know. We've never had a child missing, so they would know. Their family would know. Grandis knows what to do and what not to do. in the back of her head, she was saying, dang, she's been missing all these years. I wish back then I would have done this, or I would have done that, or I would have looked here, or I would have asked that person this. But they've not done that for Summer. They've not looked anywhere. When flowers was being made, and everybody in Kingsport was given money to make flowers put out, and asking, the stores wouldn't even let us put flowers up in the stores.
What was the reasoning for that?
They didn't want the publicity. They said it was bad publicity.
Well, yeah, little kids miss it. Of course it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. Most people would say, well, we have to get it okayed with, the corporation or our business owners or whatever. But most time missing children, they're like, yeah, go ahead, put it up. But no, not this child, they didn't. That beats me. But Candace and them didn't look for Summer day one, hasn't looked for her. They're not going to look for her. They know. And Don's not even, he's on probation in Oklahoma now? Or wherever he's supposed to be.
He's probably on probation in at least 43 states, but that's just my that's just speculation.
That's hearsay.
Yeah, it is hearsay.
Yeah,
Don't do. He said I was on probation in 42 states.
You know what? If my luck, I'm 60 years old, and if I would have done one thing out of what, I would have never got out of jail.
Yeah, me neither.
I have that kind of experience in karma. I ain't going there. I've never got a felony, and I don't plan on it. I always kid everybody saying, "Hey, I'm holding my felony off for a good one."
Unreal.
But yeah, I would have been sitting in jail forever. But these people, they've gotten away with a lot. It's beyond me how they've done it, but they have over the years. They've got and past behavior. We're looking at their past behavior now, people. Yeah. We can look at their past behavior and see what type of people they are. Not somebody I'd want to have.
Yeah, I'm less inclined about Grandis now. I just
everybody says Grandis, and we don't want to talk too much about. No, Grandis taught every one of these people. She's the oldest one in the family. I'm the oldest child in my family. And a lot of them say, hey, we wouldn't learn that if you hadn't taught it to us. Grandis taught all of them how to be, how to talk, how to lie, how to cheat. I think Grandis is ahead of that clan.
See, I just
been
don't
ahead
know.
of that clan for a long time.
I find her to be a bit of an enigma.
Yeah. Oh, Grandis is scared of Dawn. No, she ain't. No, that old lady ain't scared of nothing.
She's called the cops on him before.
Well, that's because she's not scared of him. She'll call cops on him when she's mad at him. Yeah. But I'm sure she puts him in his place, and he's learned a lot from that lady being in that family. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw my 2 cents. I stand back and listen and watch. I just listen and watch, and I told my husband, I said, I'm going to call Josh tonight. He said, who?
Josh.
I said, no, I'm really calling.
Everybody knows Josh.
Yeah, well, he listens too, but he thought you was another creator I was calling that he don't particularly like.
Oh, well,
but yeah.
Please don't.
I said, I'm going to call him.
Don't sick him on.
But all right.
I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Oh, that's a nightmare waiting to happen. But anyway, Josh, I like your show.
Thank you.
And I just sit back in the sidelines normally and listen and watch. But yeah, keep up the good work. Hopefully we'll find something out about Summer. But yeah, the 2-year mark's pretty much up. So I look for them to do something.
Here's hope.
And if they ever do take it to a jury, they'll have to get a chain of venue because of all this stuff that's went on. I do believe that.
I agree. So I like I said, here's hoping. I'm with you. Let's have positive thoughts that this is going to be the year that she gets justice.
Yeah, this is their year. This is their year. I think that indictments take a while or whatever, however they have to do it. But yeah, it's been out there long enough, and they've been watching and looking, and they know obviously more than we do. But
Yep.
yeah, I
would
do
think so.
believe. And for Summer's sake, I do believe. Anyway,
Thank you
that's
so
the
much.
hope
for
I have.
calling.
Anyway,
I appreciate it.
thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Holly Golightly coming in with possibly the comment of the night. Don knew plenty before Grandis came along. I agree. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Josh.
Yes.
Josh, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I just want to share. I'm good, thank you. I just want to share my theory. Ever since I saw the video of Don beating on the refrigerator, it just gives me the creeps. I think there was an accident in the refrigerator.
Yeah, look. He's so stupid that he could very well, but he's given how many scenarios has this guy given, but he kind of brushes past it. Like, I don't know what she does out here. And then he whacks on the refrigerator. And now I've heard of cases where kids get trapped inside once it seals on. That's why I believe that the doors have to be off of it. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's like a law or something like that.
But they're so negligent. Yeah, they're so negligent, though. You know what I mean? And I really think there was an accident regardless, but there's something about seeing that refrigerator, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I think it was either like something like that or, down to the dungeon in that dark with the steps, like something happened and they didn't want to be responsible. And that's just how I feel.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think too. Because, the whole thing is, well, why wouldn't they call the police? Why wouldn't they call the police? Why wouldn't they call the ambulance? That's a great question. But I'll tell you why.
Exactly.
They don't like cops, and they'd go to jail for negligence.
Right.
And they wouldn't be very kind to them
right. And
because of CPS.
Right. Yeah. And I just want to thank you for always bringing out the facts. Like, you've said nothing wrong. And, like, what we just talked about, like, that proves it, History, that shows why things happen. So.
And that's just a very small part of their history too.
I'm sure.
Just this very smallest part. But look, you're thinking the same way that I do. But look, I would like to think that no parent would intentionally kill their child. However, time and time again, it's been proven that it happens all the time. So.
Yeah.
Could it have been intentional? Could somebody have lost their temper and done something awful? Hold on one second. You ever heard me rant on somebody before?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, enjoy. Miss Marshall, I've seen your comments all night. Each one is more depressing than the next. Each one is more negative than the next. Positive thoughts will not help Summer is a terrible comment. And we don't really need it, I'm just saying. We don't.
Wow, I'm seeing that. Yeah.
It's just enough. I get it, I get it. You're not into it. You got it, all right? You don't like it. I get it. Yeah, no rules in Hawkins County, but there are rules in this chat. So can we just try? Because you've been nothing but a downer all night, and I've seen you in here before, and you're not typically like this. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Anyway, back to you, caller.
Well, that was all I really wanted to say. I
like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, where do we go from here?
Thank you so much, and just keep bringing out the facts,
Yeah, no,
and we
I
have to keep
appreciate
that
your
little
phone
girl
call.
with her name and her picture out there. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Take care. Thank you for calling. I mean, we get it. I get your stance now. I understand. But it's like the people that say, like, that don't believe in God, and they say prayers aren't going to help. Why? You're offering prayers. I mean, I'm an energies guy, you know, I like spirituality, so on and so forth. I like saying that. I'm sorry, dude, but this is real life. I never said that it was fake life, so I'm not sure where you're going with that, but whatever. Oh, don't pray for the people of Turkey. Prayers do nothing. Prayers aren't real. Hope is not real. I disagree. But what I do know is that negativity affects your body in much different ways. In a negative way. Positivity creates positive endorphins. It makes you feel a little better, you know? So in a way, it does. But negative energy does no good ever. Never. That's all I'm saying. And it's okay. I get it. People are upset. People are angry. People are, you know, but if we don't have hope, we have nothing in life. If we don't have something to look forward to and think that there's something better on the horizon and not just this valley, but there are peaks and not just valleys, then what are we doing? It is possible that she's alive. Is it likely? I don't think so. But it is possible. Is it possible that we're going to find her? Yes. Is it possible that we're going to find answers? Yes. Is it possible? Is it possible? It's all possible until it's not. I'm not saying that I'm just saying it's all a possibility. And until we know for sure what has happened, you got to have some faith. You got to have something. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that are watching this show right now. There's a lot of people that will listen to this show tomorrow that are near the area, that are in the area, that are somewhere else, and they're looking. They're keeping their eyes open. That's positive. That's a positive thing. Summer Wells went missing from 110 Ben Hill Road on June 15th, 2021, under suspicious circumstances, and now she has an Amber Alert out for her. You must keep the faith. Don't ruin your chakras. Don't be negative. You can't. It doesn't help. I'll tell you what, being negative helps less than being positive. I know that for a fact. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Josh.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. I know this is about Summer, and of course I want her to be found just like everybody else. But I want to touch on something that you touched on earlier. And you might need a trigger warning in the chat. I don't know, because it has to do with domestic violence.
Sure.
Okay. So you kind of touched on it. I'd like for you to elaborate. When there's a domestic violence incident, like what happened on Ben Hill, and she writes out the report like you showed, okay, somebody goes to jail. One of the two of them go to jail. And you did say, how did they, I think your words were, how did they get out of that?
Yeah, how did he get out of it? Yeah.
Or either one of them. I mean, you don't know who the aggressor was.
Well, according to the police, in one of them, Dawn did go to jail that night. But the charges were dropped. And Candace apologized,
Right,
just
that
like in
does-
94.
Right, but that's not how it works in Tennessee. One of them goes to jail. Okay, this is how it works. One of them goes to jail, spends the night, gets out the next day, and then there's a restraining order. You can't be with that person for however till your court date. Then you have to go to court, and also you said, how did that all get dropped?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, that was my question. I have no idea how it got dropped. I don't understand why it always gets dropped. I don't understand why the state would, or even the county would let it drop. In California, once you file that, if you decide not to go through with it, the state or the county will.
Exactly. It's the state of Tennessee versus either Dawn or Candace, whichever one they choose. And the state takes over. I mean, you can have an argument with your spouse, a heated argument, and call the law, and they'll show up, and you're thinking, okay, they'll calm everything down and make everything okay. No, that's not how it works. One of you's going to jail.
And like I said, Dawn did go to jail, but Candace dropped the charges and apparently admitted to what I would call, if she really did, it would be a false police report. But that's how domestic violence works, and that's why the law has changed. So your question to me is my question about it as well. How? Why? I have no idea. It doesn't seem right.
Yes, exactly.
But now in 1994, the laws were different, right? So then you could just drop the charges. People did it all the time. And finally, most states, and I think most states are now kind of implementing it everywhere. You don't get that choice anymore. If there is clear and clear evidence that a domestic dispute has happened, typically somebody is going to get charged, if not both people. They do that now. You know, they'll charge if there's no aggressor that's known and both people want to shut up, they'll charge them both with domestic violence. So, but yeah, that your question is completely fair. I don't know. I wish I did. That would be an interesting question to ask.
Well, I had the same question you had.
Yeah.
How did those charges get dropped? Because that doesn't happen. That's not the way it works.
Well, Candace can drop the charges, but the state, I think it would be up to the district attorney to pick it up or not. And I don't think that happened.
Exactly. Is it about money? They don't want to spend the money?
Yeah, that's possible. It's possible.
They had a little feud, and
right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over.
No,
you.
you're right. Go ahead.
They had a little feud, and it's all, settled down, and we don't want to spend the money on, prosecuting anybody. It just doesn't work that way.
It shouldn't, and I agree that it typically doesn't. That's why I said, how do you keep getting away with this stuff? How does that happen? Because in 2015, Grandma called the police on Dawn. Now there was no there was no physical violence reported, but possible threats and things like that. That's a domestic situation with a person that has, with people, and I'm not saying this about Grandis because I don't know, but Dawn and Candace have a very long history with domestic violence. They've been convicted of some, and a lot have been dismissed and dropped, and that's kind of the cycle that it goes through. So yeah, that was my question too. I'm reading all these things. Case dismissed, is pulled back. The protective order in 94, it's taken back. The battery charge was dropped, even though he went to jail. And so yeah, I'm with you. Why does that keep happening? How does it keep happening? I'm sure I don't know. I wish I did. Because just like you, I think that that's crazy.
Well, I've seen it happen so many times between other couples, and they get into a heated argument, and he pushes her, or she kicks him, or whatever, and you call the law, and they come out, and someone goes to jail, and then there's a process. You two cannot be together until your court date, which is usually like 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
so. How did they live?
I don't know. I know what you mean. And typically, I just don't know how that county works. I don't know how the district attorneys. I don't know. I agree with you. It's just, I wish I knew, but I don't. Would be interesting to find out, though.
Yeah, no, the district attorney doesn't get involved. You have to, if you're the person in jail, you have to get your own lawyer to stand up, because now you have, okay, so you're saying Dawn was in jail? I'm running out of breath because I'm nervous. I'm sorry.
Don't be nervous.
You're saying Dawn spent the night in jail that night that Jose and Grandis and all of them got into a fight?
Yes.
Okay. So then you would need a lawyer to show up with you at your court date, and him and her could not be together until the court date. And then he would need a lawyer to either bail him out of it, or it becomes the state of Tennessee versus Dawn Wells.
Then maybe, from what I've heard, and from Dawn specifically, and you can take what he tells you with a grain of salt, that she admitted that she made it up because she was mad. But I mean, she gave a sworn, signed affidavit. Okay. Now I do think. Are you in the area?
Someone just put in the chat, Candace dropped the charges. Okay.
She did.
When two people get in a fight, a heated argument, and they call the law, and then they want to take somebody to jail, and the one spouse says, no, it's fine, just calm them down, everything's fine. No, they don't do that. They take them to jail.
Yeah. I'm not arguing with you. I think that it's supposed to work that way, but it hasn't. Not for him, for some reason. But that would be something to look into. I probably will do that, because you've got my curiosity. Maybe they just said like she didn't have any marks on her or something. So I don't know.
Okay, maybe it comes down to, okay, this just popped in my head. Maybe it comes down to who does Don know?
Don doesn't know anybody. Don doesn't have connections. There's no way. I mean, I don't think that he even has friends. In all honesty.
Okay, someone just asked if yes, I am in Tennessee.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you're familiar with the law. Yeah. In Tennessee for sure, because you're from there, and where I'm from, it works the way that you're telling me it works as well. But what I'm telling you is, for some reason in this case, they took Candace's word for dropping the charges, and then that was it. And I don't know why. And I don't think.
But that's my whole point, Josh. You can't just drop the charges. You have to go through the court process. Does anybody have proof that Don went through the court process?
No, they just dropped it. It was done. I get what you're saying. They can't. You're saying that they can't, but they did. So I can't. I can't explain that. It's just what it is. Now,
right.
So they obviously did drop it. Should they have? No. Are they supposed to? I don't think so. But they did. And that sucks. So hopefully we can get some clarification, because I will actually look into that. Don said he talked to the judge ages ago. Yeah, I just don't think. I don't know. I just don't think that. Don's not some mafioso boss and a big shot around there. I mean, they're very aware of who Don is, and they probably were pissed that they had to feed him for 8 months too.
Anyway, hey, okay, I'm done ranting.
That's all right. Well, I appreciate when you call. Thank you. It's a good question.
We love the clip show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's fun, isn't it?
Yep.
And we'll keep doing that.
And people are going back and forth in the chat. It looks like that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well,
I do know what I'm talking about.
You should see what they say about me sometimes.
Believe me. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, like I said, you should see what they say about me sometimes. So I wouldn't take any of it personal. I appreciate your call. And I think, and your question and your statement was valid. And yes, I agree with you. Should not have been dropped.
Okay. Exactly.
All right. We'll talk soon.
There's no way. That's not how the court system works around here. So
it's not supposed to.
How they managed to do that is my question. How did they manage to do that? That's my question.
A very good question.
Okay.
Thank you much. I appreciate your call.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alicia says, I don't think Josh understands that is a rogue country or county. It's not that I don't understand that they have major issues, but I'm just saying what's supposed to happen and what actually ends up happening are quite often very, very different things that are very, very far apart. So just because, corrections officers aren't supposed to have relationships with inmates. Happens all the time. Should it? No. Does it? Yes. I mean, a lot of things slip through the cracks. Who knows? Maybe they just don't even care about Don and Candace. So they're like, you know what? These two beat the crap out of each other all the time. Get out. I don't know. Is that the way it should be? No. Is that the way that it could be? Yes. Yeah. So, and I see your point. But no, it's not supposed to work that way. Oh, man. This is going to be a good one. He was covered in spackle, so he was slippery, and they couldn't hold on to him. Yeah, it does happen. And that's why I said the other day, I don't know how you keep getting away with it. I don't know how, but he does every single time. I have no idea how he gets away with it. Yeah, I mean, Rogue County is just the opinion. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of conspiracy theories and conspiracy theories and harsh feelings about Hawkins County because of this case, and maybe because of some of the things in the past that they have dealt with. His first wife apologized too when he dropped it. Oh, when he allegedly grabbed both of them by the throat and pushed them up against the wall, allegedly. Right. Come on, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I just don't buy it. No! I don't buy it. And yes, he should. Anybody that. Anytime there's domestic violence, somebody should be held accountable and somebody should be put in jail. But, you can tell people you're not supposed to be together. How do you enforce that? Well, they're not going to ride around in a car and make sure, hey, did you make sure that Candace and Dawn aren't spackling it up? When the night is calm and the spackle's bright and the moon is when dawn bends over. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't spackle your rear.
There is no investigation.
Just as long.
This boy has
not really. This to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Spackle by me. Thank you for being here.
On the side.
It's Marshall.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
there is no investigation. This boy has
Not really. This to me. Right. Idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, that's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
there is no investigation. This boy has
Not really. This to me.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to.
there is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Tomorrow we're on the Clips channel. And this
But I
channel.
have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
There's no scraps in my scrapbook.
About you. It's about someone. I can tell. It's about you. Oh, wow, bitch. I ain't go there. All right, then. I went and handled your asshole, and I even protected your asshole. You didn't protect me. Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, just don't go there. Don't even go there.
Well, at first I thought, it's got to be some sicko hillbilly druggie, drug her out in the woods or something, or somebody put her in her car and took her not too far away or whatever like that. But
I don't lie. I can't lie. It's not in my metabolism. I have nothing to hide at all.
Been to law enforcement here months.